Morning, everyone. We appreciate everyone's understanding and patience of moving over here today. We'll go ahead and start the meeting. So I'd like to have everyone please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance. Flags right up here. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our AV cameraman was very happy that we were all staring at him as we were doing that. So, all right. So the next thing we're going to do is go into our oral communications. As I stated at the last meeting, we are now operating under SB 707. We are recording. We have people that will be able to Zoom in as well as give comments remotely. If you do wish to give a comment remotely on anything that is not on the agenda, please raise your hand. Give our board clerk opportunity to recognize you and see you. We don't want to miss anybody. One moment, I'll get to you. If you're online, raise your hand. You can come up. Sorry. So please raise your hand if you're online, and that way we make sure we don't miss you. Everybody has 3 minutes to come up before the podium here. You can talk about anything you wish that is not currently on the agenda. So if there's anyone who wishes to go first, come on up.
Well, I'll be happy to. Thank you. There's only one business downtown that's put up any kind of thank you firefighter sign, so thank you to Bigwood Brewery. The rest of downtown looks like a filthy pigsty. And I think we need to do something as a community on why we look like a trash heap. This is Timber Hill Shopping Center. I've never been to Timber Hills before. I've never picked up this many cigarette butts in one day.
Please don't take it out.
Well, you need to see it.
It stinks.
It does stink, and you need to smell that because this is what it's like in our community. So it's almost 1,800 cigarette butts at Timber Hills alone. That is gross, and we need to do something about our cigarette waste. Because if people are going to allow you to smoke around their business, then they need to provide some kind of receptacle and take care of the disposal. At Timber Hills, Mountain Mike's managed to sweep up all their cigarette butts in one big pile. But apparently they don't know how to use a dustpan and put it in the trash. If you walk downtown between Sunday and Monday, I picked up 447 butts in downtown Sonora. The fire was on Sunday. Most things are closed on Monday. So that's terrible. And nobody knows how to sweep in front of their store. If you walk today by the candy vault, they're particularly gross and disgusting. And that should not be your first impression of our community. And then on a bright note, the state of California is now going to provide free diapers for anyone leaving the hospital with a new baby. So you get up to 400 high-quality diapers before you leave the hospital. Because they found that 1 out of every 4 families is skipping meals to pay for diapers. Thank you.
All right, ma'am, and as you walk up, I received 2 notes. One is that we wish to everybody to state their name. It helps with the minutes. And then I forgot what the second one was, so go ahead.
Excuse me, at the point of order, you cannot require people to state their name.
Okay.
Minutes or otherwise.
I didn't require it. I just said, please state your name.
But I will.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. Patricia Ray from Rugged Trail Road beside the dump. I ask your full attention now, since fairly soon I'll be wrapping this up. For 5 years, I've been talking on the negative impact of this unhealthy, ugly, illegal land use in my neighborhood, but see little result. My property and house are my only home. I'm not being forced into moving, but the situation's gone far toward making my life miserable, to where I physically feel sick to my stomach just on seeing any of these guys come in through their gate. Whenever fires threaten us, everybody living here lives in fear, but speaking for myself, that fear and upset are merely added on to the dump's unwanted stress. My neighbors and I have been treated like some sort of lower animal without any basic human rights. A grand jury report thoroughly went into details of another case that resembles some of the details of ours, and here are excerpts. No project is exempt from compliance with applicable laws and regulations. It is reasonable for the public to expect all of its public employees and elected officials to demonstrate a heightened commitment to following the laws. The appearance of preferential treatment is inconsistent with the standards of accountability and public trust associated with those who serve as elected officials. So once again, this dump has to go.
Hi, my name is Dana Carrillo, and I am a Tuolumne County resident. I am here today to urge this board to protect our constitutional privacy rights and pass a permanent ban on automated license plate readers and mass surveillance in infrastructure. A public records act request I filed exposes the shocking web of contradictions and backdoor operations inside our sheriff's department. I have an email from Captain Jared Pippins officially stating we do not have any procurement agreements or contracts with Axon. Also, we do not harvest ALPR data from any public or private entities, therefore we do not have any protocols or guidelines in place. This is a flat-out admission of unaudited activity. Captain Pippin previously admitted to me on the phone that his staff has access to historical vehicle tracking logs from private networks such as Lowe's and Black Oak Casino. Yet the department handed me TCSO Policy 467, which explicitly governs ALPR data. Harvesting third-party logs with no protocols in place directly violates 3 major sections of their own policy. Section 467.4b, bypassing the requirement that tracking must be based on strict law enforcement purposes. Section 467.6, because casual phone requests completely evade mandatory secure login audit trails. Section 467.2, because it hides surveillance logs for public review and the strict privacy protections mandated by California Civil Code Section 1798.90.5. Furthermore, the Records Department exposed the truth in a separate email, explicitly confirming we are currently in negotiations with Axon for these services. They are actively trying to bring this infrastructure here behind closed doors. We know how these corporation negotiations work. On July 7th, our neighbors in Angels Camp reviewed a massive 10-year consolidated contract with Axon. Axon uses harmless body camera upgrades to quietly install long-term AI surveillance. These systems rely heavily on free-form text fields. When deputies grab tracking data from private cameras without a warrant, they manually type into an unformatted, open-ended free-form box buried deep inside reports. Axon AI software is even designed to wipe out original draft trails to evade public record requests. Every department is run by human beings, and human beings are all corruptible. Once private tracking data is misused to stalk or profile a resident, the damage has already been done. We should not wait for a massive privacy lawsuit or an insider scandal to hit Tuolumne County before we act. They are playing dangerous word games to shield themselves from accountability, and if they have no contracts, let's keep it that way. I urge this board to protect Tuolumne County and pass a total ban on automated surveillance infrastructure. Also, real quick, Washington, D.C. on May 2026, a bipartisan federal amendment was introduced to strip away highway funding from any local government using these tracking cameras for anything other than toll booths. Both Republicans and Democrats both agreed.
All right, ma'am. Thank you.
One thing they agree on.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone's patience as we're kind of working through some of our bugs. As you noticed, when we got to the 1 minute time, it did not give you an alert. So please be cognizant of the clock. If you're getting close, I'll let you know. So
Yeah, wave your hand or.
I'll wave you. Yeah, something.
Okay, go up.
But thank you for your patience.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank the fire. I mean, I cannot say enough about
the fire safety that has gone on for the past couple of days. Emergency responders, all the support staff that have kept this county together and safe. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I just, kudos to you for supporting them all along. You guys, the posted stuff, I do appreciate that. Now for the other stuff. CDD is a countywide agency that it covers all districts, all 5 districts. During Supervisor Holland's recent My Mother Load interview, he brought up the point that CDD staff make up rules that are not actual real rules. We've been telling you about that for a long time. They also apply these rules inconsistently to builders, according to Mr. Holland. They also seem to not enforce rules when it comes to public health and safety. We've proven that. We've given you ordinance codes, verifications, everything. The residents of our neighborhood would like to point out that we have provided that evidence supported by county and state laws that were overridden, redefined, completely ignored, or worse over the years. Our neighborhood residents have the same issue as contractors. It's a county problem. And now this has happened in multiple districts, not just your district, but also your district and probably both your districts too. I know the Yosemite Road thing was one of the things. I saw violations on that when it was set up and pointed them out to you, but that was stopped anyway. It is important to realize that contractors, staff, and general code complaining folks like us are mostly constituents of one of the 5 districts. We all belong to you, all of you. This is an issue that, in our case, violates a lot of health and safety laws, because we have a disposal facility. We have to breathe it, it just pollutes our water, everything. So they are health and safety violations, not just regular laws being broken. Having CDD not even try to obey or enforce the TCOC Chapter 110 is dangerous, and ignoring enforcement of the code compliance chapter is contrary to the Board of Supervisors' primary letter of the law. Making up rules must be investigated. So we want you to investigate this. You can't have CDD not obeying the law and just finding it optional, especially in public health and safety, and that is us. So you're in charge of the LEA, the whole board is. So you need an investigation. This is ridiculous. It's making our neighborhood sick. It's putting you in danger because people are looking at you weird. It's just not fair to anybody. It really is not. You guys need to take action. Keep your community safe, not just us. This is for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mary Cabral, Columbia, California. Good morning. In February, I attended a public meeting regarding community development block grants. I brought the petition in support of the renovation of the Prayer House for the permanent Columbia Fire Station. Roger Root confirmed that $300,000 of public funds have been spent to ready the building for the upcoming block grant submission for a $3 million project. I asked him how I might be able to get more information about the scope of the project and view the plans, renderings, and budget. He advised that I submit a California Public Records Act request. Later, I learned at a Board of Supervisors meeting that although the Prayer House was the only shovel-ready project currently eligible for the block grant, inexplicably, the income survey for the Columbia area had not been completed. I was blindsided, I was outraged, and I definitely smelled a rat, or 2, or 3, or more. I had yet to submit the PRA request and began to ask others if they had submitted requests of differing natures in the past and what their success was in receiving records. The anecdotal evidence was not good. At this point, my waning trust in the Board of Supervisors and Tuolumne County government was slim to none. I feared my PRAs would be ignored and an exercise in futility. My District 5 supervisor, Jaron Brandon, insisted that they would not, and that the county would fulfill their legal obligations in a timely manner. On April 27th, I sent my Public Records Act request by email to the Board of Supervisors, County Council, Roger Root, and other pertinent departments. The first responders did respond. I thank Columbia Fire Protection District, CAL FIRE, and Tuolumne County Fire for their prompt attention to the matter, and informed them that I anticipated the bulk of the records I was seeking from the principal county departments and would circle back to them with more specific requests if and when the county responded. Note that legally, entities are required to respond within 10 days. Weeks later, I received a response from Christopher Schmidt asking for clarification. I told him I couldn't limit my request as it was rightfully and lawfully included, but wasn't limited to the records and entities I listed, but I could prioritize the request to facilitate the process. I have since sent 3 very specific, precise, and simple requests seeking records for the contractors who have worked on this project or utilized the building. All have been ignored. It's been over 3 months and I've yet to receive a single record. So Jared, do you still stand by your statement? To the board at large, do you have any intention to follow the law and give the public access to records they request? And to county council, do you have any intention to do your job and see that the law is followed? Or do you intend to expose yourself to sanctions and the county to costly litigations? I know you won't answer, but it isn't necessary. Actions, or in this case, inaction, speaks louder than words. Thank you.
Morning.
Good morning, Board. My name is Mike Lemke, on behalf of the Tuolumne Economic Development Collaborative Work Group. I'd like to give you an update on Opportunity Zones 2. Thank you for all of your support. Specifically, I'd like to call the chair for his direct engagement and support of the effort at the TCTC Joint Powers Agreement Authority, authorizing Tamara Blankenship to help get our application across the finish line prior to the deadline. That's even more significant than it sounds, and that got us 3 qualified census tracts in Tuolumne County. More significant than it sounds, last Thursday I spoke at the California Economic Development Rural Section Breakout, did an informal poll, asked all the attendees in the audience about those who were familiar with Opportunity Zones 1. There was barely one hand that raised. I asked them about Opportunity Zones 2 and their status of the process engagement. At about 50% of the group raised their hands. And then I asked the group, were they aware, again, that the deadline, which was going to be on Friday for submittal, had been accelerated by the state by 5 days and was actually Monday, a few days prior. There were some looks of horror on faces in that group, and very disconcerting. In some ways, that takes out more of the competition for Tuolumne County and our interests. I don't like beating the competition when they fail to show up, but we showed up. Your support got us there. Thank you very much. We do need to, is our request that you look forward to helping to produce a proclamation of support on the application. We were not able to check that box for Tuolumne County as a governing jurisdiction. We will have open comment period here in the month of August. We'd love to get that on there so at least it can get submitted. That's if the governor selects us one of the 25% of the tracks. So your proclamation would go a long ways. A copy of what the city of Sonora did was a great example. In fact, they spread the love and they also gave their support to the county's efforts. So thank you very much. And for the audience, Opportunity Zones is it was approved on the great bill that was approved last year in Congress. It enables folks, corporations, and entities with a tax appetite, the ability to invest in impoverished, economically challenged zones like what we have here in this county, as opposed to us continually having to go after grants and taxpayer funding. We're actually able to go directly to equity source on projects that benefit infrastructure, jobs, economic development, and livelihood. And incidentally, the window is open there for some fire type prevention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
At the last board meeting, communication, a young woman come up and she revealed some troubling information about the Air Pollution Control Board. And it brought me back to the previous 4 boards, and they're carrying water for a small group of lobbyists and business owners in the community. We lost millions of dollars and a chance to clean the forest by going with something like GSNR, which led us out for 10 years and did nothing. The board took the teeth out of the Air Pollution Control Office. So you have no inspections. The valley bans burning to protect the valley's people, and we allow 1,000 trucks a month to come up here. We have no inspections on what's coming into our county. So we have no board, no inspections. So what happens? We get sued. The board has to spend $250,000 to buy people, attorneys, to do what they should have done. And so, so anyway, an election happens, we get 2 new supervisors, Mr. Holland, Mr. Griefer, integrity, smart people, and they decide, along with Mr. Kirk, and I always thought he had the big picture, and they started appointing people to the board. They appoint a young woman, Catherine Sari, and the machine and their minions go wild. Oh, we're not going to be able to do anything we want. We're going to be watched. We're going to have to follow the law. We can't disconnect pollution control stuff. And so anyway, they come up, they start the character assassination along with our media, zero class, dishonest media, and they start a character assassination. Well, what did she do? Well, she warned about government overreach in the area of Fauci's fallacies, and I think she was correct. And then she talks about, well, I wonder what's going on above us between 10,000 feet and 41,000 feet. You could go on FlightAware, and there's 10,000 airplanes pumping millions of tons of hydrocarbons into our atmosphere. What's that going to do? We really don't have any idea what that's going to do, but what a nice person to be put on the board. 1 vote out of 5 for rubber stamp votes and her vote, and they went crazy. So anyway, the lady comes up, she says, geez, the attorney that was going to be on the Air Pollution Control Board, he won't serve because Catherine Sari's on the board. What a zero, what a mouthpiece. I hope you will not let them back in. They've had a stranglehold in this county, and I pray that you guys will be tough and they can follow the laws, protect the people, protect the forests, invest in people who are not going to wait for public doles to do a project. Please, don't let this happen, okay?
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak on any items not on the agenda? Seeing none? All right. All right.
Allow them to talk.
Okay.
Okay, you've been unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
My name is Gordon Robertson, and I want to talk about quality of life here in Snohomish County, Northern California. Specifically, a threat to public safety in the form of trainees who I hate so much. They beat our girls in sports. They rape our girls in bathrooms. They are now waving their dicks around and stalking vulnerable women in county jails and state prisons. If you aim a twig and bury it, you are a man, and you should have your sickness beat out of you. Tuolumne County needs to man up and demand no more special rights for trainees. We don't want our rural communities turning into mainframes where apparently trainees chip out when a store security guard rightfully says what the hell for shoplifting. Austin.station should deploy all trainees to Palestine. God bless America. God bless Israel. God bless our eternal sheriff and the people's governor, Ted Dowdy, and God bless our eternal president, Donald Trump. In God's name, amen.
Okay. Anyone else?
Interesting for our first experience on a Zoom call. All right.
What's that? That's why we didn't. No, we don't have that choice anymore. So, all right. Well, thank you for those comments. All right. Is anybody else online? Seeing none? I can't see her. All right. All right. Anybody else? Okay. So now we'll go on to our closed session comments. So same thing. You can talk about 3 minutes on the closed session items. It's a little bit different. This time you actually can have 3 minutes to speak about any of the items on closed session. Seeing none?
So, St. Paul still has a hand up.
Please. Was it put down?
I'm gonna lower it.
Yeah, just lower it.
See if they would like to speak again.
All right. Anybody wish to speak about closed session items only? Going once, going twice. And that's that. Okay. Again, I appreciate everybody's patience as we kind of work through an unusual day. All right, with that being said, any staff reports? Don't be shy. Oh, there you go.
Morning, Board. Nathan Gorham, Assistant Chief, Tuolumne County Fire Department and CAL FIRE. Chief Cashy apologizes. He'll be unable to present with me as he's on a fire assignment out of unit. So the Dove incident happened this Sunday. Obviously, it was a rapidly expanding incident. Initial responding resources and incident commanders augmented the response with additional overhead, aircraft, crews, and equipment. As of this morning, 225 acres, of which 63% is in the Sonora City jurisdiction of local responsibility area. 36% is county SRA. The other 1% is federal lands. It's currently 25% contained and the damage inspection is ongoing. Currently, there are 576 personnel consisting of 75 engines, 16 crews, 4 dozers, 10 water tenders. At its peak, our aircraft had 2 air attack planes, 4 S-2 tankers like we have out of Columbia, 2 large air tankers out of Fresno and McClellan supporting the efforts, as well as 7 Type 1 rotor helicopters. 87,000 gallons of water was delivered via the helicopters, 67,000 gallons of retardant via the fixed-wing airplanes, of which 45,000 gallons came out of Columbia Air Attack Base. We are again thankful of the proximity of the Columbia Air Attack Base to our local response. Additionally, on Sunday, CAL FIRE submitted an FMAG, a Fire Management Assistance Grant application to Cal OES on behalf of the County of Tuolumne and Sonora City. Proud to report that it was approved by FEMA late Sunday night. I'd like to also highlight that our CAL FIRE law enforcement officers effected an arrest of an individual in conjunction with our cooperating law enforcement agencies of being suspected of being responsible of igniting the Dove fire. This incident again showed the cooperation of all of our partner agencies in effecting large-scale evacuations, while the fire personnel mitigated the threat of wildfire in the wildland-urban interface. Thank you.
Just before you go real quick, I just really wanted to highlight the fact that you said CAL FIRE submitted the FMAG, but I just wanted to let everybody know we were denied the FMAG for the Chinese camp. You personally wrote the FMAG, so I really wanted to call you out specifically and thank you for the hard work that you and all of Tuolumne County Fire did over these crazy past couple of days. So great job.
Thank you, Supervisor.
And with that being said, I think a lot of times we see the uniform and it says CAL FIRE, but the public doesn't understand that there's really Tuolumne County Fire Department, which is which is such a strong part of our fire response. We have CAL FIRE, which is our partners on the next level up. So we may see a patch, but there's a lot of individuals, especially our Tuolumne County Fire Department guys that are the men and women that responded to this. I know. I'm sure Supervisor Campbell and Supervisor Brandon, as well as all of the supervisors, will say the same thing. Give them a big thank you. I was going to say something during the board reports, but I kind of rolled into it, so we'll jump about. So I know you guys are still doing the work. I know you're still out there. I know we kind of blend terms between who's really where, inside that uniform, but all that matters is that I thank the Tuolumne County Fire Department and CAL FIRE for their hard efforts.
Thank you.
Any other board wants to?
I know we got approved to fly at night. Is that becoming more common for the
Yes.
helicopter stuff? Good.
Yep. Yeah, Columbia Air Attack Base has transitioned and they have the ability and the training now to respond at night as long as it meets the requirements of the checklist. That they can ensure their safety while doing it. We'll continue to respond at night as needed.
Can we fly the bombers or just the helicopters?
Just the rotary wing stuff, aircraft, and then they'll have aerial supervision. If there's more than 2 helicopters, they'll have a higher up helicopter kind of affecting a helicopter coordinator role to help maintain the safety.
Same as like the spotter plane we see.
Correct.
Yeah. Where's the 1% federal land?
It'd be off of the northwest corner of the fire.
Just some little
parcel. Little indescript acre, 1.3 acre, just sitting in a.
So, and one of the questions we do get is, why did these things happen? Now, obviously, you're not going to talk about ongoing investigations. We have the courthouse fire, but sometime in the near future or in the future, would it be possible to kind of get a list of the most recent fires, their cause, and how they were either adjudicated or not? A
Yeah.
lot of people want to know, why did that happen?
I can look into that, and I can
Yeah.
say that 95% of all fires are human caused.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Morning, Sheriff.
Morning. Well, the last 72 hours have been very, very eventful. Just want to cover a couple of brief high-profile cases the Sheriff's Office is working on. We had a murder case a few weeks ago that we're soon to be bringing to a close, hopefully. Been about a 6 weeks in endeavor of constant evidence collection and many other logistical issues that all come with submitting warrants for electronic analysis and other types of mobile forensics. Another high-profile case is we had a 3-year-old young lady, little girl, die at Lake Don Pedro in the Fleming Meadows area swimming. That is an active investigation right now. We are treating it as a homicide. We don't have all of the logistics and all of this information from all of the people who are around there. We're still gathering that information, that intel. So we're treating it that way until we know otherwise, which is a common protocol for us to do whenever there's a death involving a youth or child. I just want to highlight that call for service because it really shook the pillars of this entire community. That was something that we saw a lot of narrative on social media, a lot of narrative within my office and within the community. Folks are quick to judge and emotions run high whenever we talk about things that seem to be preventable. I always encourage folks to be patient and trust that your sheriff's office will conduct a thorough investigation. And when the time is appropriate, we will release what is applicable to release to the public. To the deputy sheriffs, to the firefighters, the medics that responded to that call and had to at one point hold a lifeless child in their arms after performing CPR. I've been there, done that, and I know what it's like to be defeated. And if there's anybody out there that has a question of how we responded to that incident, I know there was some feedback on social media and also some calls about the timeliness. Know that the deputy sheriffs, whenever there is a call for help coming from the community, they are unwavering in their response, as are the firefighters and the paramedics and ambulance services that serve this community. I can say that with the utmost confidence. We did respond to some of those comments that were posted on our social media posts, but for the deputy sheriffs, I always tell my staff, don't worry about that chatter that's on there. Keep doing what you're doing. Your sheriff is proud of you, and the people are proud of you, and that is reflected in the comments that we get from our community. So again, our hearts and thoughts and sincerest condolences to the families, to everybody that was affected by this call for service, because it did ring deep within our office. And so I am grateful for the deputy sheriffs and everybody that responded, and the highest level of professionalism and them bringing their very best. Some things are just out of our hands. Within the last 72 hours, I won't go too far into the details. Our fire chief came up here and was super humble about that FMAG. Supervisor, thank you for highlighting that. I will tell you, I heard it was about 10 pages long, Chief, in between power outages and a coordinated effort, but I will just say, very proud of our fire chief for taking the bull by the horns and really knocking that out and seeing that that was a priority. His leadership in that aspect is greatly appreciated. Can't say enough about our firefighters and our deputy sheriffs who responded over the last 72 hours. That includes our Sonora Police Department, our local CHP, our state parks folks that showed up when things got real interesting. This was a very dynamic fire, much like Washington Fire, based on the area where it kicked off, because it triggered mandatory evacuations right away. Special thank you to Dave Salazar, our OES analyst right now, who is probably testing for that coordinator position that we recently flew. It was a good repetition to see everything working together. We did have an activation of the EOC. We weren't able to fully activate based on the dynamics of everything that was happening to be able to move from one point to another. But I will say this, the investment that this board has made in the dispatch center over at Stryker Court allowed us to operate just about every function of that EOC out of there in a timely manner that did not delay active evacuations of hundreds of people. Not including the calls for service that were coming in. We're talking thousands of calls for service. At one point, we had 7 to 8 dispatchers and 6 consoles that were fully operational the entire time. At any one given time, we had OES, our OES staff. We had staff from public health. We had our EMS coordinator in there, also our fire chief at different times to ensure that that streamlined information was being relayed exactly where it needed to be. It was probably one of the smoothest operations for as chaotic of an incident that you could have unfolding in that dynamic of just the environment. It was a lot going on, not to mention the small logistics of the fact that we're dispatching currently for the Sonora Police Department and also heavily assisting in what evacuation efforts would look like for a densely populated area in a very short amount of time. Fast forwarding past Sunday into Monday yesterday when we had court fire kickoff, again, at one point triggering mass evacuations of areas that are heavily populated. We're talking areas well into the junction, into the Timber Hills Shopping Center, into Lowe's, all areas that require a lot of logistics and a lot of staff and personnel to guide and direct these folks to safely evacuate them out of dangerous areas. As of right now, I won't speak to the logistics of the fire, but we know it happened close to that area in between Camp Justice and the highway, very close to the highway. We did evacuate Camp Justice. I just want to say something about the group of folks that were living in the camp at the time. Very cooperative, followed our directions, which I think is important to highlight. That when we went in there and Deputy Sheriff started evacuating, there was no hesitation. There was people grabbing their animals, their belongings, and shifting to a safe area. We were able to coordinate buses that were able to transport those folks to the Tuolumne Resilience Center, where we had American Red Cross already activated from the previous day's event. Folks, again, very cooperative, very grateful for the services that were being provided to them. American Red Cross, I can't say enough about them and the coordinated effort that took place. Our community service unit that helped staff those Red Cross, that Red Cross shelter, phenomenal job from the entire team. Our animal control officers ended up setting up an animal control shelter as well. So they were bringing pets. We had rabbits, cats, dogs, folks that were showing up. There was some, I believe, larger livestock that was housed at another area. But again, just watching this team and help facilitating everything moving on all 8 cylinders, I can't say enough about how proud you should be, how proud I am of the entire team and the community that came to help folks. I mean, we had neighbors helping neighbors evacuate folks. We had vulnerable populations that were being helped by neighbors and friends and family. We had people that were remaining calm under stress and calling and asking for guidance as to what to do. They were following those directions. We didn't have any major issues outside of the fire of people being uncooperative. And I just think that that's an opportunity to really reflect that in a world where we have things that we hear about that are problematic or developmental in what leadership looks like. I'm here to tell you that from where I'm standing, we have a lot to be grateful for in our community, in all of our emergency responders. My heartfelt thanks, and I'm proud to be a part of this and lead the team in the Sheriff's Office. Not to skip over this, but I believe this week is Probation Officer Week for probation services, if I didn't miss it or not. I just want to say big thank you to our probation department for everything that they do. We work very closely with them. With a high-risk supervision team, they are also boots on the ground like everyone else. If I had numbers to tell you everybody that was out there, it would probably take me less time to tell you who wasn't out there because it was all hands on deck. And so, again, very grateful to all of our partners, and thank you for continued support.
Sheriff, before you go.
Yes.
I just want to say, I know, I was going to say this in my board report, but I went over to the Resiliency Center yesterday just to see, and everybody from top to bottom is very thankful for everything. You and the animal control, and I went over to the EOC building where Dave did the right thing and threw me out because he was busy. He didn't need a looky-loo, so your staff is doing very well. So, just this was our biggest test or our first test of our new structure with having animal control under the Sheriff's Department, as well as moving everything around. So nothing but compliments to your team. It's a wonderful, cops and firefighters like to tease each other, and this is one of those examples where everybody was working together, doing exactly what we do. I know the number of calls I was getting was a lot less than it was the last time this was happening. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Same thing with fire. So thank you.
No, thank you very much.
All right. Any other staff reports? Okay. All right, we'll go to board reports. Look to my colleagues. Okay, Supervisor Campbell, I know.
If he doesn't.
No.
Okay. Yes. So I'll start at the end, or start at the beginning, and then make my way through. So I attended the Tuolumne County Homeless Committee on Homelessness. Well, anyway, date doesn't matter, but one of the issues that's kind of on my mind right now is we're coming up again on a deadline for what to do with the homeless camp. We have IRF funds up until September 30th, and then I know that Social Services is looking at different ways to fund it beyond that, but there's going to have to be a conversation about how to do that. going forward. So that's kind of something that's going to be coming up and that will be coming to the board at some point in the near future. Also attended meetings in Willow Springs. So they have their bridge projects that's going on. I know that, and let's see if Blossom's here, but it's been taking a long time, but I just want to reiterate to everybody that this is a major project and we want to do it right because it's a critical connection between Willow Springs and Salisburyville Road. It's the way people, it's a classic one way in, one way out kind of community, and that is a bottleneck, and so we want to make sure it's done right and that it's built correctly. And so appreciate everybody's patience on that project. Also met with the Phoenix Lake Country Club Estates community. They had their annual meeting, and the big concern that they have is they have a lot of people don't know this, but they actually have a pretty substantial pond or a lake. It's kind of in between a lake and a pond size, but it has a dam that was built, God knows when, and it's showing its age. And so I'm going to be reaching out to the county to look into that, see what possible future plans could be done with that, if there's federal money available for those type of things, or if we should just let that pond go dry, because it is along a creek bed, and if it's in my mind, if it's causing a danger to the community, which it has overtopped the side in the past, the danger to the community is the overarching most important thing, and we have to address that. So that's one of the issues that's happening in that community right now. Also attended the meetings related to, so when this fire broke out, I was actually in Mono County for Yosemite Area Transit Agency. We had a lot of concerns about the funding for that, but we actually do have a long-term contract with the National Park Service now. That was actually just announced the other day. So we're really happy about that. That makes our future much better, but there's still problems on the horizon for that. One thing I did want to highlight, and amongst all of the different agencies that helped out with the fires, while I was there, the director of transportation for YARTS came up to me and she said, I can get you 3 buses for evacuations, like right away. As soon as I told them, I got to get out of here quickly because there's a fire going on, she said, do you need help with evacuations? So just kind of an example of how all these different agencies step up to try and help out. And I'll just end my report there. Thank you.
Brandon? Great. It's kind of weird not having a microphone to tap on it. I think everything was said, but I wanted to echo thank you to our sheriff's office. Thank you also to our firefighters out in the field. There's also a lot of supporting partner agencies. There's a lot of other staff, might not be the first responders, but are helping support those efforts. As mentioned with the calls, I think you said, and public health staff coming in and being able to help with that. We've got a really great team at the county, and I'm appreciative of it. This is the same fire, more or less, in the same spot, 5 years or 4 years. I would love to see a conversation happen with the city of Sonora about this area in particular, to figure out what we can do for a longer-term management plan or some of the dead wood that will be left. I know this threatens neighborhoods within my district. It also threatens our response with the fairgrounds, obviously, and the evacuation corridor. And so, though all areas are at risk, this one in particular, it seems to keep catching on fire. It seems to be a confluence of some risk factors. And when it happens there, though we have been very good and lucky in the response and the weather and all of that, it hits at a very vulnerable point that is very close to a lot of built areas. I just wanted to kind of provide comment on a few things that were brought up. So one, I've had several requests with legal and counsel related to the public records that have come in. And I know that there are conversations. I'm not privy when you send a Public Records Act request in, if you're talking with our counsel, exactly what that direct conversation would be. When I've been included, I followed up again at least 3 times specifically to that to make sure that those are basically being fulfilled. I know that there have been delays, and this is a concern to me too. I had a conversation with our new county council very briefly about the potential of looking at some software that would help manage PRAs to make sure that they are done on a timeline tracked digital workflow behind the scenes so it goes to everybody who needs to. And I'm very much in support of that because I know they're complex. There's a lot of different requests from different people on different timelines. And I think the way we were doing it before has not yielded what we need. I think we need to have something that is much more organized. Also wanted to say in the CDD process, I agree with a lot of the comments. 3 years ago, I particularly pushed for a CDD audit to be one of our board goals. I've never felt that was satisfied. I was told, well, we did an internal audit. It's like, that's not what I was talking about. All to say is, I think that need is still there. We're obviously looking at CDD leadership and staffing. However, I agree, and I think from what I've heard, that is the direction that we want to go in, is to be able to see, are we enforcing what is actually written there? Is it very clear and not subjective to where you're going to end up arguing? Are we trying to make it as ministerial as possible? Is it accomplishing what we want with as minimal friction as possible? So, also thank you for all the work on opportunity zones. I know that is going to be a huge opportunity for Columbia in particular. Seeing investment in the region, I know that was something that's for a couple of years been on the horizon to make sure that actually got in and approved. Thank you for your work and on TCTC as well for taking lead on that. We're going to be doing a Columbia OES tabletop modeled after what I think you've been leading in your district. We did have that delayed due to the fires. We're looking to reschedule that, but any Columbia residents or in the area that would like to participate, we would love to have you there. Also, I wanted to bring up one concern to the board. We have updated our airport policies. I know that there's been an effort to limit the use of some of the facilities, particularly at Columbia Airport, the pavilion that's had a lot of improvements done to it, from potentially unsupervised folks coming on, throwing a party there, doing whatever. There's access to the grass field. There are some significant concerns. The concern that I have separate from that is we are effectively limiting it to only pilots, but they can still come out, they can still drink, have fun, bring a bunch of friends. There's still effectively, it's unsupervised. We're not requiring that they do certifications of that. The reason I bring that up is because there are several long-standing community events or large organized events which have treated that as the one large public area of Columbia that is a county facility they can rent out. For example, the Old Timers Jam. If we deny that, there's not another place in Columbia. And I think it's unfair for us to say we will not allow the community to use the airport and to keep that as effectively a pilot's exclusive club. I don't think that's right. I think it's fair to set rules or to pay for the usage. But right now, as it stands, unless you are a pilot, you are barred from access to that pavilion facility. I brought this up to the airport's manager. I'm hoping that this will come before the airport's committee to discuss what would be appropriate controls to make sure that it's safe. But if we're not supervising it to this other group, we're just assuming, well, a pilot's going to be safer, but there is no rules or restrictions or training or requirements or anything for them. And we won't allow a wedding to happen out there, or we won't allow the Old Timers Jam. That to me is just unfair. So I'd like to see that brought forward. Thank you.
I was on the same meeting. Well, Supervisor Campbell was at Mono. I was at TCTC listening to the discussion. There's a lot of great information that was presented, and yes, having that long-term contract with the park is going to really help out the arts. It's reported that we also had Superintendent McFadden with the park there, gave a lot of great information. I'll kind of put you on the spot. How was the drive-through?
It was great.
Yeah.
No, and I saw a Yards bus go through, and I think there were 2 cars in front of me as I was going through.
So I bring that up because we're seeing a lot of social media posts and a lot of information that's being put out by mainstream media saying how the park is in complete disarray, that it's overran, that there's trash, and it's just not the case. Every time I've been through the park recently, that's not been the case. It's very well organized. The park has added 300 additional spaces. To quote the superintendent, they didn't disturb a blade of grass to add those 300 parking spots. So last year they had 120 days of gridlock within the park. So far this year they've had 2. So whatever they're doing up there, they're really doing it well. They understand that it's the people's park. They understand that there are issues. So really proud of all of the work that the park has done. The 120 corridor benefits greatly, as well as a lot of the county does. So we're glad that that's operational. Very short times to get into the park. I think he was saying on the average on the 4th of July was an hour, but at the time of his discussion, it was a minute. 1 minute from the time they arrived to the time they were through. So really big shout out to the park. I do want to say thank you to TCTC and Mike for bringing forward and kind of kicking me in the butt to get that opportunity for the resolution done. I'm glad I could have been a part of that. And lastly, I know we've kind of beat this to a horse, but thank you to all of our partners. Big shout out to the Don Pedro Trailblazers who assist with the rescue and movement of large animals, horses and cows and things like that. So, it's a cliche saying, but it's a true saying, teamwork makes the dream work, right? So one mission, one goal, one vision. Everybody goes home. We're all safe. We can rebuild a house. We can rebuild a park. We can't get someone back. So as a former first responder, I sincerely support every action that you guys do. So that's all I have.
To kind of feed off what Stephen and Ryan were saying, I was actually up in Yosemite probably 6 weeks ago. We had an RCRC meeting over in Mariposa, and they took us on a bus tour up into Yosemite, and they drove a full-size bus all the way to Glacier Point. No problems at all with traffic. And the only time we hit traffic, we stopped for 5 minutes because they were landing a helicopter because they had to get somebody off of, I think, El Capitan that was stuck or something. So they were unloading the rock climbers to get up there. So everything did run very smooth up there. And so it is wide open. I mean, if you can drive a full-size bus all the way to Glacier Point, if any of you guys have been there, that road is not very wide at all. So most time you're grabbing on a handrail thinking they're going over the cliff. So they did it, got it out. So it was very smooth. Some other things, like Jeremy was saying, we do need to talk about that area. I believe back in the day, and I'm talking about the area in Sonoran, which is burned again. I think there was going to be an MSA project back in the day or something proposed, but I don't know if it ever happened. Obviously, it didn't happen. Now the fires, I guess, did that kind of for us. But one of the things I'm concerned about is looking at the damage is the hillsides coming down this winter. We're predicted to have a heavy winter. If that's going to be true or not true, we'll know in January if that's the answer. But if we have a lot of heavy rains, those especially along the highway there, you'll notice the hillsides are completely bare. I mean, burnt down to the rocks, it looks like. So hopefully maybe Caltrans or some other, we can get the feds to come in or some major hydro seeding in time to try to stabilize the hills, because otherwise we're going to have road closures, the highway will be closed as that hill starts to move. And not to mention our TD sewer plant is the base of all that. So if it starts washing, it's going into our treatment plant, which is no good if you're on the county sewer system. So these are probably conversations we need to have. I'll probably talk to the city later today or tomorrow, get with them about that. That's kind of about it. I think I got a new book. I was going to bring it. It was really interesting, but I'll save it for another meeting because we're in a weird space here and whatnot. But I think everybody will get a good laugh out of it. So it was a gift I got along the way that someone got to me, and it has to do with roads. So it'll be good. So
NACO?
Huh?
NACO?
Yes, it was for the NACO. Yeah. Oh, so yeah. So I attended the NACO conference as well, which is like the national. There's 3,069 counties that are members across the country. It's not every county. In some places they're called parishes, but basically counties. Had a good conference, learned a lot. I went to a couple of the AI sessions about AI and what it can do. And it was kind of really fascinating about how they're using it for tourists and how to drive tourism. And some of the sessions I was disappointed in that I attended. I was hoping to get more out of it, and there just wasn't a whole lot there. It was more political speech stuff, but the AI stuff I thought had some interesting uses if we can apply it correctly to our county to help push tourism and how they benefit from it. Specifically, they were talking about New York has really figured this out. It was just kind of fascinating and stuff I never even thought of, and also scary at the same time of how they're able to keep track of you through social media and other stuff. So I'll share that later. But yeah, it was a good conference. Learned a lot. Had a good time, made some good connections, and some good best practices other places are doing and stuff like that. So,
And I forgot to mention on that, and I think it's fair, we had spoken a bit, mostly this is a huge risk to obviously City of Sonora and District 1. It is an adjacent risk to District 5. But just being in contact with the Governor's External Affairs Office and Senator Schiff, there is some legislation where they're talking about trying to work on transportation of fuels and different stuff. All to say, I think when you're able to engage with the city, I think we absolutely should be reaching out. I think a lot of people don't know that yes, we need to do forest management. However, there's a lot of private land right next to that forest. We get 70 million for that. And yet we can't get, it feels like 250,000 a year to actually go deal with the stuff around people's houses and highways. So I know we're doing some with the Community Wildfire Defense Grant, but expanding programs like that for that area would be awesome.
Yeah, the lady from Schiff's office contacted me as well, and that was kind of the two things that I'd asked was, kind of what Jeremy was saying was, we do get a lot of money for forest land, but as our chief will tell you, the fire doesn't care where it starts or where it goes. It doesn't know where the boundary line is. And so if we could spend a little of that money just right outside the forest area, it would actually help protect the forest as well, and maybe bring down our insurance rates, possibly, and continue to do some areas closer to town. Because we are doing a good job, but you don't really see it. Most people don't see what's going on. It's way out in the forest. But maybe we can bring some of that money back in, and the theory behind that would be, well, by doing this, we're actually protecting the forest. Because, as Nathan said, 95% of the fires are human-started, Nathan, is that what it was?
Correct.
Yeah, so 95. So that means most likely where people are, more people are in town than they are necessarily out in the forest. So that's an ask. I don't know if it gets done or not, but maybe, and also ask about maybe if you could have some influence with the state about trying to get the hydro seeding or something done, maybe Caltrans, because it actually would protect the two highways that are coming in and then the road 49 going up into town. It is mostly in my district, part of it is in Jaren's, but it would affect all of us if anyone tried to go across town the last few days, you realized it's really hard to get around. Well, if we have a landslide, that's not just waiting one day, that could be waiting weeks for them to dig that thing out and get it clear, which hurts economics, hurts getting groceries delivered, all kinds of stuff. So I don't want to go back to a toilet paper shortage. That'd be no good. So that's all I got.
All right. All right, with that being said, we do have a 9:30 appointment, so, or 9:30 public hearing, so we'd like to go ahead and take that now. So how about we take, what time, where's the clock? There it is. All right, how about we take a 5-minute bio break? So at 10:05, we will resume with our public hearing. All right, if we can go ahead and resume our meeting. Let everybody grab their seats. All right, so our next agenda item is our 9:30 public hearing. Madam Clerk, would you please read?
9:30 a.m. public hearing. Consideration of adopting Resolution 73-26 of necessity authorizing the acquisition by eminent domain of a temporary construction easement over certain real property located at 15400 Algerine-Wardsbury Road, Tuolumne County, California, more particularly described as a portion of assessor parcel number 096-180-005. The easement is required for the construction of a new bridge and roadway improvements associated with the Algerine-Wardsbury Road crossing at Blanket Creek Bridge Replacement Project. 2/3 vote required.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, staff?
Good morning, Board. Blossom Scott Heim, your Public Works Director. With me today is Denise Sitnick, our Supervising Engineer, and Urian Barraza, the Project Manager for the project. The existing bridge was built in 1936 and is classified as scour critical, which means that the foundations are considered unstable under high water flows and scour conditions. We began preliminary design and environmental studies in 2011, and in October of 2016, your board approved the mitigated neg deck for CEQA clearance. We also received NEPA clearance from Caltrans at the same time. We began right away in 2016. The project requires both a permanent easement and a temporary construction easement. And in April of 2019, we executed, oh, I'm sorry, Daniel. Sorry. This is just a little bit about the bridge, and then we can go to the next one. In 2019, we entered an agreement with the property owner for both the permanent and temporary construction easements. However, due to delays in project funding and permit approvals postponed the construction date. Under federal requirements, temporary construction easements have to have a defined expiration date, and the previous temporary construction easement expired in March of 2011. We did a waiver valuation and appraisals in 2022 and offered to repurchase the temporary construction easement in 2022 as well. The property owner refused the offer and has not been responsive since. So eminent domain is the authority of the government to acquire private property for public use. Just compensation must be provided prior to the acquisition of the property. A public use is one that benefits the community as a whole or promotes the general interest in connection with any legitimate government objective. This project constitutes a public use as it will replace a scour-critical bridge and provide a safer travel route for the public. If negotiations are unsuccessful, as they have been, we initiate eminent domain proceedings by issuing a notice of intent. On May 18th, 2026, a notice was sent to the property owner notifying them of the hearing today. At the public hearing, the board determines if the following conditions have been met: that the public interest and necessity require the proposed project, the proposed project is planned or located in a manner that will be the most compatible with the greatest public good and the least private injury, the property described in the resolution is necessary for the proposed project, and the offer of just compensation has been made to the owner. I'd like to note that adopting this resolution is a prerequisite to commencement of an eminent domain action. It does not preclude us from continuing to negotiate with the property owner. And I believe we have a 6-month, that we wait 6 months before filing the eminent domain. So this is just the first step in the process. It's not the actual filing of the case. The temporary construction easement has a defined lifetime. During construction, we use extra property, and then at the end of the construction, the easement ceases. So that is what we're focusing on today. The permanent easement, the roadway easement has already been acquired. Staff is here asking you to adopt the resolution of necessity based on the findings in your staff report. And you have a 2/3 vote required. We're here to answer any questions you might have.
All right, thank you. We'll go bring it back to the board for questions. Supervisor Holland?
So I'm looking at I'm assuming that's the bridge in the picture, right?
That's the existing bridge, correct?
Okay. And I'm looking at the map we have here, but it looks like it does like a hard bend.
It does. You want to go back one, Daniel?
Yes.
So anybody that's familiar with this road, there's a pretty hard turn there.
Is it just further down here or something?
Behind, in that picture, the bend is behind you.
Okay. So are we affecting his barn? I'm assuming that's a house.
We're not affecting any of the structures, no.
Okay.
We'll be affecting some fencing, which will be replaced with new fencing in kind.
And we need that extra 1.25 acres for?
Access to the stream bed and material storage potentially. There's a rather large oak tree in there that we have to get materials around and down into the stream bed, which is why you see quite a bit there on the north side.
And you said the guy's been unresponsive, but he rejected the offer.
He rejected the offer, and we have not been able to engage him since. He's been unresponsive since then.
Well, what have we done? Like, rejecting offer is responsive to me, right? I mean, no.
And we've continued to try to negotiate with him.
Like, specifically, what have we done?
Our consultant that was on board at the time reached out to him multiple times. We have reached out to him via mail multiple times. And then again, he received a notice of today's hearing and has not been responsive to any of our attempts to contact him.
But no one's actually talked to him. Like, we actually don't know. I mean, don't take this the wrong way if he's alive or not, right? I mean, besides saying no, there's been no actual communication. Like, no one's actually physically talked to the guy?
Correct.
So, okay.
Since our consultant spoke with him, physically spoke with him, I believe, on the phone when he rejected the offer and said that he was not interested in the project moving forward.
And that was in 2022?
Correct.
Correct? Okay, so we did talk to him in 2022. That's 4 years ago. Haven't talked to him since then, but we sent letters saying we're offering you more. We just need you to sign this, or what? What are we doing to actually like talk to the guy? I mean, I'm not a big love government guy, so I'd probably throw it in the trash too. Like you sent an offer, the answer was no. Keep sending me the wrong offer, like.
We've resent offers. We have to provide the offers in writing, so we've done everything via mail.
Is it the same offer over and over?
I'd have to look back. We updated the value.
We updated the value in 2024. Again, in 2025, we've submitted the written offer again. When we submit the author, it goes in there with the explanation that this is a negotiation type process, and if he's able to reach back out to us, then we can initiate that. But we can't initiate it if he doesn't speak with us.
But no one come to his door, just knocked on the door and said, "Hi, I'm from Tuolumne County. We'd like to talk with you." We just sent letters.
Not since our consultant engaged him in 2022.
But originally he was on board back in 2011?
2019 is when we signed the original agreement.
Oh, I thought we bought some land in 2011.
We've been in talks with him since 2011, since the project began, and then in 2019, we finalized the purchase of both the permanent and temporary easements.
Right. So 16 years, he might just be sick of dealing with, waiting.
Quite possibly.
I mean, it's the best example of government speed, 16 years, right? Some people come and go in careers in 16 years, so, okay. That answers my questions. Thanks.
Okay.
All right. Supervisor Brandon? Campbell?
Yep. So so I'm clear, we're offering $100 or $1,800. Is the just compensation?
Correct. That was the valuation that our consultants performed. In all right-of-way negotiations, that is a starting point. If the property owner wants to counter offer, we then negotiate. But we're restricted to offering the appraised value in the initial offer.
Okay. And can you explain to me the difference between, so we're talking about a 1.28 acre area, but we're not buying that land, we're purchasing the right of way for going through it, is that correct? Or how does that? That seems like it would be a low number if we were actually buying 1 point.
Yeah, it's a temporary easement, so the right to use the easement during construction for a finite amount of time.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're not actually buying land.
Correct. We're kind of leasing the easement.
And then one thing I wanted to ask, I think I know the answer, but when is the last time the county actually went through the process and finalized a eminent domain?
We did this on the Evergreen Road project, I believe, last year.
We went all the way through and
We filed the eminent domain while we continued to negotiate. We reached an agreement with the property owner, and we withdrew the eminent domain filing.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yes.
The last time we actually went entirely through the process and completed an eminent domain in this county was like 2007.
Correct.
So
Correct.
Was that wrong?
We
was
filed a resolution of necessity on that, and we were able to negotiate with the property owner
Yeah. So
prior to filing.
I just wanted to highlight that
Yes.
this is very typical where, people will want to engage with the county on these things, and then they see, oh, gosh, I got an eminent domain request, and then all of a sudden they come to the bargaining table, and we're usually able to resolve these things through a settlement.
Correct. This is the fourth one while I've been here at the county in the last 14 years, and we've been able to resolve all of them without going to court.
Yeah, and that was going to be my point too, is that as long as I've been with the county, we've never actually gone through an eminent domain to the end.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Kirk?
Well, first thing, on the picture, that's actually not the bridge. The bridge is that steep. Correct? Just because Mike was asking about it.
That is the bridge.
Oh, that is the bridge.
Can you go back to the first page, please?
I thought it was the one that comes downhill and it's a steep curve, it's a steep turn off to the right.
It's, no, it's not steep, it's just sharp.
Okay.
This is they call it the Peacock Ranch oftentimes.
Okay. That one, because
And
there's
so
some
if you're-
bridge work going on. Actually, that's a different.
Oh, Lime Kiln is currently under, yeah. So if you look at that picture, you can see those pipe railings, that's the actual bridge.
Yeah, and I think, and maybe I'm getting two bridge projects mixed up, but I remember discussing one of them in closed session, and it was like a ridiculous starting point, so I know we've done our part.
That was a different bridge.
Okay, so I'm getting the I'm doing this wrong, two bridges mixed up. Okay, never mind. Yeah, it's temporary, so I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Okay, and just to kind of give the board and the public a little bit on why it's taken so long, we reached environmental clearance, went into these right-of-way negotiations, and when we finalized right-of-way, we had to do what's called recertifying our NEPA. At that point, Caltrans informed us that additional special status species had been added to the list that we had to study. So we had to go into new studies, which are time sensitive. You have to do frog breeding season studies at a certain time of year. By the time those studies were done, the temporary construction easement had expired. Caltrans also went through a period where the grant funding, this is 100% grant funded, where the grant funding was not available for construction in certain years. And then all of that kind of came together in a perfect storm. So.
I do have one more, it's just a quick question. I see he's got fencing, there's probably animals. When we're done with this bridge, are we gonna replace the fence? There's like any of that fencing going down and we're gonna replace it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And we worked with him in the beginning on what type of fencing he wanted, and that's been incorporated into the project plans.
Okay.
How long is this easement for? Or how long is the time frame on this?
Is it 3
Like,
or?
let's say it goes all the way, but
It's a 16-month.
how long? 5 years?
16-month, yeah.
5 years.
And he can't use his land because we basically have it tied up
He can continue to use it,
until we show up, right?
until we show up, and then we'll put up, likely put up some temporary fencing around the easement, depending on whether, he runs his cattle, part-time at that ranch.
So if it went all the way through let's say it actually made it all the way through the process,
Mhm.
for 5 years, we have rights to use it basically as a storage yard, construction yard, whatever. But if we don't show up because, as we said, it's taken 16 years to get to this point, if it takes us another 4 years to finally show up, he can still use his land for 4 years
Correct,
until we show up.
correct. We will only occupy it during the actual construction of the new bridge, which
How
is
long is that supposed to be?
anticipated to be a single season.
It's anticipated to be a single season, and we notify them, of course.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, a season's a year,
It's generally April through October, November.
spring, summer, fall.
Yeah.
Okay, seeing no further questions from the board, I'll open up to public comment. Does anybody wish to come up and speak upon this topic? Seeing none, I'll look online.
We don't have anybody raising their hands.
Okay. We'll ask, is the property owner present? Seeing none, bring it back to the board for discussion or a vote.
I'll move on staff recommendation.
Second.
All right, Supervisor Brandon makes a motion to accept on staff recommendation. Supervisor Kirk is a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Abstain? Motion passes 4-1-0. Supervisor Holland is the no vote. With that being said, I will close this public hearing.
Thank you, Gordon.
So Brandon will give you a second to clear before we roll into the next one here. Next item will be the consent agenda. All right, thank you, everyone. All right, consent agenda, we're going to go ahead and address this. Are there any items on the consent agenda which need to be pulled?
I'd like to pull item 2.
Okay. Any others? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and take the consent agenda as published and provided in the handouts and posted online as a single body. Open it up for discussion on all items with the exception of number 2 to the board.
I do have some questions. Okay. I'm looking for the numbers here right now. Oh, did Blossom leave?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're sorry. All right. Good. I have a couple questions on the bridge. Questions. Why don't we just pull 5?
We'll pull number.
No, I want to pull. I just want to ask questions.
Okay. Okay. All right, so any questions or comments on, we'll go with you, Mike, on any of the consent agenda?
Yeah, Blossoms isn't 5, but
killing me, Smalls.
So my 2 questions is Blossom were keep it thing.
So I think if you want to pull it and have a presentation, or if you want to have a presentation from staff and discussion, we have to pull it.
I agree.
I thought we could ask questions on consent, Jones. I just want to ask you basically why one bridge is costing so much.
Pull the item.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and pull it, make it safe. What item are you asking?
I can instruct me. It was just about why the bridge was so much cost difference, and that's fine. I can ask you later between Rawhide and the other one for the engineering of it.
Okay, so currently the only item to pull is item number 2. Do I have any questions or comments from the board regarding any of the consent items?
Just a comment real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanking Christine Elder and Chris Nevis for their work on the County Behavioral Health Advisory Board. We had 2 open spots and they both applied, and those are 2 really, really good people who are very active in the community, and we're happy to have them on our board.
Okay, wonderful. All right, with that being said, Supervisor Holland is now requested to pull item number 5. Okay, so any public comments on any items on the consent agenda with the exception of item number 2 and item number 5? With the exception of items 2 and 5.
Yes, I'd like to comment on item number 7, please. As Supervisor Holland pointed out, the increase on this contract far exceeds the increase on a similar bridge contract, number 11. The Rawhide Road Bridge, both of these are for final design, permitting, and construction support services. The Rawhide Bridge is significantly more complex because it meets the state highway system. So it's under a different process through Caltrans. We have a lot more coordination, a lot different standards we have to meet, and a lot of work that we have to do actually on the state highway system under some different standards. So it's much more complex than the other bridge where we're just kind of wrapping up final design and kind of putting a bow on it.
So it's a little bit beyond the bridge of Rawhide, that's why. That's
Correct, and just the coordination with Caltrans is extensive.
All right, any other public comments on any of the items on consent agenda with the exception of item numbers 2 and item number 5? Seeing none, go to online.
Hands raised.
No hands raised, all right. We'll bring it back to the board for final discussion and vote.
I'll move we approve those items on the consent calendar except for items 2 and 5.
I'll second.
All right, Supervisor Campbell makes motion, Supervisor Brandon is a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All right, passes 5-0-0. All right, Supervisor Brandon, item number 2. Madam Clerk? Sorry, I jumped the gun on that one.
No worries.
Madam Clerk, please read item number 2.
Item number 2, approving a subrecipient agreement between the County of Tuolumne and Habitat for Humanity of Tuolumne County, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $2,500,000 for projects under the Manufactured Housing Opportunity and Revitalization Program, MORE program.
Great. Supervisor.
Thank you. So I just wanted to check, this is the MORE grant we received in November 16th, 2023.
Correct.
So this was something that was brought, I think, through some of the work of our housing specialists, and you were working with Tamara at the time, and that it's a mobile home renovation and rehabilitation grant. We have a lot of mobile home parks that are severely dilapidated, they're facing issues. Going through some of the stuff, when we received that, we were going to spend it, I think, as advertised there. Then there were parks actually had reached out. Gold Rush Mobile Home Park, for example, has had severe flooding issues from adjacent properties that have affected a lot of the homeowners. There's been issues with, reported to me, Twin Pines, a few others, and unfortunately a very unresponsive mobile home enforcement division at HCD. Not all of them are under that umbrella. All to say is this was creating a pool where we would do an exact contract just like this to go and help improve these places, which we don't necessarily have funding for. Habitat needs a funding source, great partnership. The concern I have is, here we are, it's 2026. At the beginning of kind of last year, I was told previously and then immediately after we had some change in administrative staffing that this grant, we did not have capacity to do anything with. I was told that after the housing specialist position was effectively eliminated, then we had some change in CDD. So from that point, we've lost a lot of CDD staffing. And I think that's recognized, both leadership as well as line staffing. We have not restored the housing specialist position or created a new one in it. The concern I have is between 2023, 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago, that we ended up getting this. Then saying we do not have capacity to implement this, to do it. Suddenly, we do have capacity. We're now doing a subrecipient agreement, and this is going to basically where we're having it's prioritized towards fire. Those who have lost their homes in that sense, which is an eligible use of it, but kind of not the original purpose because those fires hadn't happened yet. I'm definitely of interest, we've talked about Caleb Armstrong, some folks, and what would be available to victims, particularly in the Chinese Camp Fire. The concern I have is that never came back to the board. Correct me if I'm wrong, for direction from what we originally got and awarded the money and accepted the money to change who it's going to. Because now these parks that we're reaching out to say, hey, we would like funding to fix stuff up. And I said, we just got this grant, please apply to the CDD department, which said we don't have capacity to be able to do that, are now seeing $2.5 million going to this fund that they are a second tier, if that, probably more like third tier access point. Really, the first group is going to be that one particular community for mobile homes, many of which were not mobile homes to start with, right? The second will be ones that have hired professional engineering, architecture firms, which is difficult for most fixed income seniors in a mobile home park or even a mobile home park to do. They're kind of in that probably last category, which is the ones who are the lowest income mobile home parks that do not have engineered improvements, shovel ready, that are simply dealing with basic stuff like sanitary issues, leaky gas mains, flooding issues on an annual basis. So that is my understanding of this. And I communicated this with CAO Root a while back that I kind of first heard that this had shifted, and I'm not aware that this ever came to the board for a change in direction. And so I wanted to ask if that's an accurate timeline of that, if I'm incorrect that it did come to the board and I don't remember that. And what's the process that this suddenly we had capacity, we did shift it away from what it was meant to, which is a lot of the parks, particularly in my district.
Well, I'll respond to a couple of things. Just one is that at the time the grant was awarded, we hadn't had any fires, so the state notified us after the Chinese Camp Fire that they would allot a certain portion of it to go toward the Chinese Camp Fire. We haven't brought that back to the board for direction, but the state did approve the changes to the MORE grant. And the other thing that we have done,
the state approved changes to the MORE grant requested by your office.
Well, actually, we didn't request. I think the state came down and said we could use that funding to help the fire victims.
The state volunteered to us that we could take that grant and move it. We did not ask that.
That's correct. And then we met with the state on site. We visited sites that had mobile homes in Chinese Camp that were damaged by the fire. And then they put together an approved list of homes that qualified. I don't remember the exact details, Rachel was more intimately involved. And then
who was this at the state?
It was
which department?
It was through the home program. Through the home program. I'm sorry, the MORE program.
Okay, so HCD staff for the MORE program.
Yeah. And I can collaborate.
And then since this time last year, we had several frozen positions. One of the positions that was critical for us to be able to do this was the accountant position within the department, which we have since unfrozen, recruited, and hired someone for that accountant position within the department. And predominantly to help address some of these grants that we had that we did not have the capacity to work on. And Rachel can provide details on that too.
And this was a grant that was under, from my understanding, kind of your direct management, right? We had some of those vacancies for quite a while.
Yeah, and so the intent was when Tamara initially applied for the grant was for us to manage that in CDD. And what happened with all of the changes, we lost, you guys approved an admin tech specifically for this program. That position was frozen. We did lose our accountant position that was on hold. And so, like I said, initially the intent was for us to completely run the entire program. And as you know, with just all the changes, things have just been a little hectic.
And so I was talking with Trinity to see if they would be interested in doing something like this, and she was willing to take on this program. And so that's why I'm going full bore now, because I have that support of Trinity to be able to do the day-to-day construction project management of this grant.
I mean, we weren't gonna go out and repair the mobile home parks ourselves with our staff. We would have always subcontracted this out.
Correct, yeah,
And probably made the same request, you know.
right.
And I'll leave it at this, because I think it is a very worthy cause. I brought up in some of the conversations, being able to access grant funds or have a recovery fund, and recognizing it's District 4, to be supportive in that effort. The problem I see with this is a decision was made not in the public, behind the scenes. I found out about it as it was just basically on an agenda or in passing. It wasn't, hey, here's a grant that's coming out, let's get feedback on whether we're gonna apply or not. I did note that the more HCD staff came out that were visiting Chinese camp to move this away. I have, I think, 11 mobile home parks within my district, and that was the original intent of this. And so this money is now being diverted, and it will effectively be used up before any of those parks are able to access it. And there are several with long-standing issues that I get quite a few complaints about. And I want to see that if we have some of these things where we had a whole year before a lot of the shakeups happened, we then said that there was no capacity. Suddenly there is, suddenly it's going to a different thing. That is done in public, and it's a full conversation. And I just don't think that it happened this way. So I'm fine to move forward. I wanted to pull it mostly for that questioning of it. There were some other issues at that period of time that I think are relevant, and I brought this up to the CAO as well. There were around the same time discussions on CDBG, which had been mentioned earlier, was an in-progress, shovel-ready type project that we missed a key deadline. Whether or not we would have been awarded is separate from us not applying or not planning to. There were a few things that seemed to suddenly shift behind the scenes where we were no longer doing that. And I thought we left that behind in 2024, and I do not want to see the county returning to that. So, thank you.
Is there an expiration date on this?
Yes, June 30,
Of this year?
next year.
Of next year, okay. So Supervisor Brandon brought up the fact that it was awarded in 2023. What happened between 2023 and 2025?
We just had a huge shifting in staffing, and just, I wasn't able to.
So the huge shifting in staffing isn't just because we had changes in 2025 to now. This has been a problem that's been going on since 2023 when it was awarded. Is the changes that were brought forward that Supervisor Brandon has brought out within the purview of the program and the staff as well as the CAO's office? The new CAO's office, not CAO Riggs, because we can't ask her.
I'm sorry, could you ask me that question again?
Is the change that you're proposing operationally within the scope of your ability to make these decisions as well as the CAO's office versus having to come before the board to make that decision? Meaning, did you see an opportunity, you took it because it fell within your purview, which is why you brought it forward on the consent calendar?
Correct.
Okay, so it's not you're trying to be deceptive, it's not that you're trying to do anything, it's not that the CAO's office did something in the back doors or behind the scenes, that you guys are operating within the terms, and because this thing ends shortly, either we use it or we don't, right?
Correct.
My last question is, I think we're interchanging the terms, mobile homes versus a mobile home park. Does this go to the homes or would this go to parks?
No, there's a separate application period for parks.
Right.
So what we applied for was specifically for mobile home owners.
Right. Right, so that's why I wanted to clarify, says that, yes, you have the majority, but I have a park in mind, I think you've got one. So, but the idea is, it's not going towards the parks to increase a leaky faucet or something like that. These are actually going to homes and foundations and things like that, where obviously the greatest need right now is the Chinese camp, considering it was completely wiped out.
Yeah.
So, okay. Any other?
And if the board wishes, we could bring this back to the board, if that's what you guys wish.
I only want to note the thing, I agree, I think that is the greatest need. It's the process issue. I'm not saying that anything illegal happened whatsoever. Absolutely.
But you did. You implied it. You implied that the CAO's office, a backdoor discussion occurred that was not brought before us. And that's why I asked my questions very clearly. If they were operating within their scope of what the Moore grant is, and they are bringing to us a plan to use the money before we lose it, That is not a.
And I'm trying to respectfully respond to that because I agree and I'm saying the same. I think it was within the authority. I know that the original grant application was not for that, though it falls under potentially the umbrella of the program. There's a difference between something that is not allowed and what is, I think, the most transparent way to do it. It is fair to say that I think this was done not transparently, and it was done at the staff level away from a public meeting. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not saying that there was malintent from it, but from being there at the beginning when we created the position, identified this issue, the grant was written, we were going to implement it, then it didn't because we didn't have capacity. It's frustrating that that decision didn't come here, and there were several decisions at that time that I felt were changed without bringing it to the board. Correct me if I'm wrong, we have all committed that we want to make sure that these decisions happen in public, and particularly with the scrutiny on the CAO's office, because the CAO's office has a lot of that authority to shift funds, to do things that are legal, however, are not the intent maybe of having a public forum and a public governing board. We want to make sure that they're done here. And that's the point.
Right, but we've also said that we don't want to get into the day-to-day operations. We want to allow the staff to do their jobs. And that's why I asked the question. If this falls within their operational purview and they can do this, then they don't need to bring it back from before the board.
They do because we have to accept the program, funding it, which is different than what we applied for.
Okay. Right. Supervisor Hahn?
So we basically have 11 months to spend $2.5 million.
Correct.
And at the end of 11 months, it's gone if we don't have it spent. I'd like to thank Trinity for stepping up because we like to give her projects with very short timelines and spend a bunch of money. So at the end of the day, this $2.5 million is going to go into our community to help our citizens. Whoever it's helping, it's still helping somebody within our community. And I'm assuming we have a good plan to spend $2.5. I mean, it doesn't sound very much in government world since we spend, huge amounts of money on other stuff. So we can probably get the whole $2.5 million out in 11 months.
I'm hoping so, yes. But also.
I see Trinity nodding, so I'm
Yeah,
assuming that's
yeah. And this is a new program, and I just kind of want to, and Tamara might be able to speak to this a little bit because she initially applied for the grant. This is a new program at HCD, and the parameters have been moving. Like initially, they're like it's only for park residents and parks, and then they opened it up to residents outside of parks that own mobile homes. So, and you could talk with HCD about that. It's been kind of a moving target with them, and so when the fire happened, I was on the phone with HCD. The conversation came up, and they said, "Hey, how many mobile homes were destroyed?" And so HCD and I had that conversation, and I kind of took it and ran with it. And so I apologize that I did not bring it back to the board. Hearing your concerns, I probably should have brought that back. But it was one of those things where now on a tight deadline, I'm trying to get the guidelines finalized, trying to get Habitat on board. So again, I apologize that I did not bring this back to the board.
Okay. Two things. When I keep saying Trinity, I mean Habitat for Humanity, by the way. Trinity is the one that runs it. So for the public that's not sitting in here doesn't know that. Have you and Habitat or Trinity had this conversation about kind of what Jeremy was saying? If we have $2.5 million, is X percent going to go towards, because obviously purchasing a new mobile home is quite more expensive than just fixing someone that has a roof that's leaking, which is probably one of the biggest problems in mobile homes is they're meant for a temporary time and they've turned into long-term. You're right, they're never meant to last as long as they are. And so roofs leaking and windows are probably the biggest problems in those things. Is there a conversation about what percentage is going towards people that living in parks that need that?
Yeah, so if you look at the guidelines, so there's 3 separate pools, and pool 1 is anyone that has been cited with a code violation through HCD or has been destroyed by a wildfire. So those applicants will automatically fall into pool 1.
Okay.
Pool 2 is anyone else that has any health and safety violation, health and safety issues. And then the 3rd pool, everybody else falls into. So it's not broken out by percentage, it's basically broken out by pools. I can definitely talk with HCD to see if we're able to allocate a certain amount just to maybe that pool 3.
Yeah, I guess from my point of view, and I think it's kind of talking a little bit what Jaren and Steve are talking about is we have $2.5 million. It would go very quickly if we bought just 10 mobile homes, or 12 would probably suck up all that money. But maybe we can buy half of those and fix 80 roofs, right? And so we were getting a little more bang for our dollar. So hopefully we weighed that a little bit. And obviously that's up to you guys, but, and I think you have to do a good job of that. But I want to make sure, we're Chinese camp is bad, but people in parks are struggling just as much as well. And so I think as long as we don't dump it all in one area, we kind of spread that love a little bit. It's a great opportunity, no matter what. It's $2.5 million we did not have. Well, I guess we've had since 23, but we're actually going to spend it now. So.
And I wanted to add on that March 1st is, I believe, when I brought up these comments and these concerns. And so we have had time, and that was not to you, that was to the CAO's office on that, where what I was told is this is going to go to effectively 10 homes being built, 250,000 more or less new or bulk purchased or something like that, and not necessarily, like you said, renovating a lot of more decrepit properties that are at risk of that. So just for the timeline, this is not the first time it was brought up.
Of this year?
Yeah, March 1st of this year, specific to, that was the first time I had heard this program's now going to that.
Okay.
And I was gonna back you up on that. You and I have had conversations about it going back quite a ways, so I do know that this is something that you've addressed in the past, but I'm less knowledgeable about this, so could you, for my education, this is just for fire impacted mobile homes, or?
No, it's open to anyone in the public that would like to apply.
Okay, so, and then whether they're in a mobile home park or not?
Correct.
Okay. The reason I bring that up is that there was a high profile fire in my district last year where a mobile home was destroyed by fire. Would somebody like that be eligible?
Yes, and with this program, they have to income qualify, so it's 80% AMI.
It used to be just parks, I think. They changed, that's one of the rules they changed, right?
Initially when we applied for the grant, they were just talking about residents, mobile home owners in parks, but then they opened that up to anyone that's also on real property.
So, and I'm using this as an example just so I understand. So it was one mobile home, not in a park. It was on their own private land, but it was a mobile home. It was destroyed by a house fire, not a wildfire. Is that a qualifying type of problem?
Well, and to that though, what I see in pool number 1, applicants who have lost mobile homes that were affected by wildfire. It doesn't say fire.
And I'll clarify that with the HCD.
Yeah, is it in like a wildfire prone area? A house fire in a wildfire area, does that count? That would be a verifying. Because that would be the case. It is a high fire area, but it wasn't related to an ongoing wildfire. Anyway, I'll follow up with you later on.
Okay.
Supervisor Kirk?
My only question is on the sole source provider. Is that speed things along to get this grant money going? Is that why we're doing sole source?
And two, they have experience working with grants.
Yeah.
And they run a very successful mobile home repair business.
Yeah, no, I'm not against them doing it. I just want to make sure that we're government. We're supposed to be opening up for all people, but if there's a good reason, we're sole sourcing it. Because for whatever reason, I know there's a lot of sole sourcing on a lot of our contracts on the agenda. So I was just wanting to know that. And I don't have any questions.
My only follow-up question is, there's obviously very different states of repair on certain mobile homes. They've been either completely destroyed by a house fire, they're had a leaky roof, or they've completely been destroyed by a wildfire. So does that 250,000, I'm going to use that number for a mobile home, does that include everything that goes with it? The septic, the engineered, so it's not that they may not qualify to get a new mobile home, they may qualify for a certain dollar amount, and then the organization would help them design either a new engineered septic, because obviously Chinese camp's going to be very susceptible, how do I want to phrase this? They're going to have to address the septic fields and the water lines and things like that because they're all on wells. So it's not, I don't want people to hear, oh, I can apply for a new mobile home.
Right.
But if they don't have septic or water, they can't put a new mobile home there.
Correct.
So, okay.
But this does allow for infrastructure.
Right. Okay.
So I had one more. Who do people contact if they want to see if they're eligible? Is it you?
What we'll do is we'll do a lot of community outreach, but it's going to be Habitat. They're going to be accepting all of the applications, and they'll be screening.
They're the muscle.
They're the muscle.
They're the muscle.
Yes.
All right.
And historically, this has been, I think, where we kind of came to like, why apply for this grant, and it did become available, and Tamara was keeping an eye on it. For years before, I was reaching out to Habitat saying, hey, I've got somebody, they need help. With this, you've got this great program. The challenge is we don't have the funding for it. We don't have the funding for this. It's a grant funded program. It needs to be refilled, and then we will dutifully use that to help hundreds of people. And I think that was the challenge. When it comes to mobile homes in particular, it seems to be very hard to find funding. And it's not to say that what we're putting into isn't important. We've had this discussion before, like tilt money versus, something more restricted. There's disaster monies that are out there if we are prepared. Fixing 10 homes is noble. It's not repairing all that was destroyed, which probably can't be, but it's going to need more. Those disaster funds are available. There's almost nothing ever, at least in the last 5.5 years I've been on this board, the two before, that I've seen a lot of money put into these, they all, at the state, it's very uncommon. They tend to treat these like substandard housing, even if they're in great condition, and they do not want to repair them. So if it feels like I'm being very protective of it, it's because this seems like a limited opportunity. Repeating myself. So with that, I'll be happy to make a motion after public comment.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. Public comment? Anybody wish to speak on this item? Oh, here they go.
Okay, I'll go first.
It's a race.
All right.
Just a reminder, you have 3 minutes.
Owner, I have an
Wait,
awful lot to
ma'am,
say about
wait.
this. Oh, are we waiting?
No, I'm just letting you know that, again, we'll restart your time, right? It's 3 minutes. You will not hear a 1 minute beep. I'll remind you. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
All right. Mary Cabral, proud mobile home owner. I have a lot to say about this. I support the MORE program's intent to repair aging mobile homes, possibly replace them. However, I am dubious of a Habitat of Humanity Tuolumne County handling this in a cost-effective manner and helping as many people as possible. I want to thank Rachel Bell. I had a lot of questions. She answered them. So we're granting Habitat $300,000 for administrative costs, which is about 12% of the project total. Although each Habitat branch operates independently from Habitat for Humanity as a whole, an internet search reveals that Habitat in general averages 5 to 8% administrative costs on its project. Also in an interview with Ryan Campbell on Access Tuolumne program, The Conversation, Trinity Avila, CEO and President of Habitat for Humanity Tuolumne County, stated that a misconception of Habitat is that it provides affordable housing, and stated that affordable housing does not exist in California. A brand new 1,200 square foot double wide mobile home currently costs no more than $150,000 to purchase and install. A single wide 800 square foot mobile home costs no more than $100,000. If that isn't affordable housing, I don't know what is. So I'm objecting to her saying it doesn't exist and running a program to help something that absolutely exists. In my mobile home park, a brand new double wide and single wide are currently being installed and will soon hit the market in a mobile home park close by, District 5. A new double wide is for sale for $145,000. That's a 1,200 square foot brand new home. Repairs on older mobile homes can be affordable, and residents make them frequently with no local contractors when their budget allows. Another affordable aspect of mobile homes is the cost of fire insurance, and help to cover those homes which are not currently would be a huge benefit to the community. I also question the amount of grant projects that have been awarded to Habitat for Humanity of Tuolumne and specifically highlight the following passage in the contract. The subrecipient is prohibited from using funds provided herein or personnel employed in the administration of the program for political activities, inherently religious activities, lobbying, political patronage, and nepotism activities. My hope is that the most good is done with this grant in the most cost-effective way. If, as a show of good faith, Habitat for Humanity of Tuolumne reduces their administrative cost to 8% and Tuolumne County reduces their administrative cut from $125,000 to $75,000, $150,000 would be available for new mobile homes or more repairs. And I've got 10 seconds. Where am I going from here? I would fully support helping those devastated in Chinese camp. I just want to do it the most effective way possible. If they make that good faith, then they could save money and put a whole new home there, $150,000 thing. Sorry.
Busy this afternoon, but good morning, Board of Supervisors. I'm Trinity Avila, the CEO of Habitat Tuolumne. Just want to let you know, Jaron, because I do hear your voice, I want to give a little bit of background about what Habitat's actually been doing for the last 5 years. We actually are the only mobile home repair that comes in and offers free mobile home repairs to our community. To date, in the last 5 years with our home repair program, we have reinvested over $1 million into home repairs here in Tuolumne County. And I would say a very large percentage of that is in the mobile homes. So for Habitat, when the county approached us for more, we're already out there. Mobile homes are unique. They're not conventional construction. So they are a little bit more unique in what we can do and what we can replace in them. It's why other entities typically call us when they say they have somebody in a mobile home, and whether it's windows, whether it's ADA needs, lack of hot water, in dangerous conditions, that Habitat gets called, and we go in and we make their homes better. But when I say better, there's a lot of mobile homes that you can't make better. They were not meant to be lived in since the 1950s and 60s, and without them being conventional construction, there's actually only so much that even we can do for people that are in there. So we were excited when we found out that the county got this grant, because we are the boots on the ground, and we are in there talking to Tuolumne County residents who really have substandard living conditions in these mobile homes. So when we were approached, we were excited to be able to offer our administration skills and our construction skills. And the 5 years that we've been out boots on the ground, actually helping to repair mobile homes within the community. So I just wanted to be able to bring that to you. And also just want to highlight that Habitat serves 40 to 80% of the AMI. And yes, there is, when you go to look at how much it costs in California to build, it is very difficult to build. But manufactured homes is becoming more and more of an answer, especially as lenders are more willing to now lend on a manufactured home when they weren't in the past. So we're excited to kind of embrace this new chapter. And as always, it's a tight time frame. So I would hope that you would consider this today. This puts us at 11 months. And the last one you gave us was 5, and we're on time and on budget. So we're hoping that we have 11 months to be able to really help impact and change people's lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, online? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board, and with chair prerogative, I would like to, unless there's any comments, make the motion. No comments? Okay, I wish to make the motion that we approve item number 2 as written.
Second.
Right? Second. Okay, thank you. So I make the motion, Supervisor Kirk makes a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Passes 5-0-0. Thank you. Right, item number 5, Madam Clerk.
Item number 5, approving the contract with Aspen Street Architect, Inc. for design and consulting services for the Behavioral Health Continuum Infrastructure Program funded Peer Respite at Tuolumne General commencing April 1, 2026 in an amount not to exceed $719,950 over the duration of the project, and authorizing the county administrator to sign the agreement and all future related amendments.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Take it away.
This is a full consent item, so is there a question?
Yes.
Thank you.
I was just trying to ask, so we're spending $719,000, $750,000 on plans?
It is 8% of the total grant amount of $9.5 million over 5 years. So the cost or the scope of work within that 719, first we wrote that contract to the maximum allowed, anticipating that we may just find unanticipated expenses as it relates to the project once we start opening up the second floor. Consulting services, bidding services, any RFPs related to the subcontracting, all permits, all fall within that 719.
Okay, and did we send that out to bid?
We sought for a sole contract agreement. The B-CHIP application required, draft plans. We had currently contracted amount with Aspen for another project that was happening within the HHSA and agency. We were able to utilize that grant for the draft. From that point, we assessed that because of the familiarity with the draft plans, familiarity with bead chip applications, we sought sole source permission. County Council reviewed that request. CAO Roger Root reviewed that, and we acquired permission to go out for sole source.
Okay, I mean, I'm happy that it's local-ish. I mean, I know they're county next door, but close.
Yeah.
So the grant just says 8% of the grant's gonna be spent on plants.
You said the contract says?
Well, no, the grant says that we're gonna spend 8% of the total budget, which is, you just said 9.5.
Up to.
Yeah, that we'll spend 8% on that on plans. So when we write that up to, don't we expect that they're gonna spend all $750,000 drawing some paper?
Well,
I mean, it just seems like a lot of money to draw some plans.
It goes
to, like,
beyond plans, supervisor. So these are civil designs for the exterior parking lot. It's assessing the front of the building for ADA. The current ramp that was utilized for the emergency department when THGH was open is no longer meeting the local or California ordinances. So all of that front of the building will have to also be reconstructed. HVACs, coordination with local agencies, including our facilities partners.
Are they doing the construction management as well, or are they?
Yes, construction administration, preparing any amendments, bidding support, responses to the RFIs, review of submittals, and partnering with the county and helping us through consultation to make the best decisions for the project.
So this won't come back and say we need more money for this?
Absolutely not. We are capped at 9.5. Again, we wrote the contracts up to the amount. This was something that the Department of Healthcare Services required to make sure that we had the potential to be successful in opening up the peer respite program.
Okay. Just a lot, but okay.
I'll tell you about my private deck later. Yeah.
All right.
Now I feel about decks.
Yeah. Any other comments for Supervisor Brandon?
Yeah, and I appreciate you pulling this because I had read the not to exceed number, but the 8% point, if we're kind of setting that, I wonder if the what's proposed sounds like it will be generally helpful to other projects later for the whole building. Some of those things are going to be required for anything.
Yes.
With that said, if they came in and said, okay, we needed 6%, right? If they send a thing, it's still under 8%. How are we scrutinizing that to make sure that it doesn't go up to 8? Maybe we keep it at 6. And if there is a difference there, are we able to reimburse our indirect costs? Because you're going to have, I'm sure, staff working with them, right?
Yeah, we have one primary project manager, Lindsay Lujan's in the room, if you have any additional questions. As far as the ongoing or the identified costs with the program, those would be coming through any traditional process, the RFIs or RFPs, where we would be doing the scoring no different that we would do for any other project. So the scrutiny would happen through the current protocols that are in place for the
And so like with Lindsay's time, for example, would that be something that is billed to the grant? Are they potentially eating up all 8%, or can we use that to reimburse the time that we would be spending with our staff on it?
You know, I don't know if staff time is involved. Is our staff time written into this? No.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Supervisor Campbell? No? Kurt? No? I liked how you said, if we find stuff on the second floor. Yeah, I bet you will, so.
I think we found a lot of stuff in
Yeah, I
there.
bet.
We're very excited to be a part of revitalizing the TGH building, so, and hope that it is in line with some of the goals that the board has.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no further comments from the board, public comment? Morning, sir.
Good morning. I've worked with Aspen Street before on a fairly large project, and I found them to be very honest and upfront, and I think it's a good choice. I just have a question, although I'm not allowed to ask questions, so I'm going to propose it as you guys get to ask yourselves a question about where it says the agreement and all future amendments. And then it was similar in item 4. Does that mean that, does that fall under the not to exceed amount? So if there's a future amendment that needs to be made to this contract and it goes above that amount, does that then need to come back to the administrator, to you guys before the administrator can sign it? Or does that only apply up to that amount? Does that make sense? My question. Thanks.
Anyone else? Seeing none, online? Seeing none? Hypothetically, if someone did ask us a question like that, did we have an answer?
Tammy said it, they're not going to.
So hypothetically, if somebody did ask the board a question like that, can we give them an answer?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you got that, Lindsay.
Hypothetically, if an amendment needed to be made to extend the amount of the contract, it would not have to come back to the board. However, the grant would not allow it. So the understanding that that's a possibility feels a little off.
Okay, thank you.
So is it, just to clarify, people can ask questions, we're just not gonna respond.
Yeah, that's why I said
Yeah,
that.
there's nothing hypothetical, we can just answer.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want anybody watching to be confused.
Well, it's been one of those days.
Why'd you let the secret out? You have to hold, like,
Well, I have a friend who has a hospital and they're doing a project on it.
Now you know why we're getting out before noon all the time, so no more questions. All right.
Oh, Nathan's got a question.
Nate's got a question? Oh, no, he doesn't. All right, seeing no further questions or comments from the board, look for a motion.
I'll move to approve item 5.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Supervisor Campbell, seconded by Supervisor Brandon. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay, or opposed, nay, sorry. Abstentions? 5-0-0, passes 5-0-0. All right, so that leaves us item number 13. Madam Clerk?
Item number 13, consideration of adopting resolution 72-26, approving the 2026-2029 memorandum of understanding between the County of Tuolumne and the County of Tuolumne Deputy District Attorneys Association.
Thank you. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Board. Karen McGettigan, Human Resources. This morning's item, afternoon, asks your board to adopt the negotiated memorandum of understanding between the county and the Tuolumne County Deputy District Attorneys Association by resolution. As a reminder, the Deputy District Attorneys Association is comprised of attorneys from both the District Attorney and Public Defender's Office. There are currently 10 allocated positions in that unit, and there are 3 vacancies. The purpose of the renegotiated agreement is to support the county's ability to continue providing quality prosecution and defense services to the community. As a reminder, these attorneys are specialized professionals who are very difficult to recruit and develop, and retaining experienced attorneys is incredibly important to preserve institutional knowledge and reduce the recruitment costs. The agreement before you today is the product of good faith negotiations between the parties and reflects a balanced approach that supports the county's operational needs and remains mindful of fiscal constraints. Representatives of both the county and the Attorneys Association participated in negotiations over multiple sessions and worked collaboratively to resolve issues and ultimately came to a mutual acceptable agreement. The County Administrator's Office evaluated the fiscal impacts of this agreement and determined they're sustainable within the county budget. Therefore, staff is recommending approval of the resolution adopting the memorandum of understanding for a 3-year term to be effective July 26, 2026 through June 30th, 2029.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Any questions? Seeing none? All right, public comment? Seeing none? Anyone online? Strike 3, that's perfect. All right, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion to accept or not.
So moved.
Second.
Right, Supervisor Brandon made the motion, Supervisor Campbell made the second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0-0. Thank you, ma'am. All right, so our last 2 items are going to be closed session. We'll go ahead and read those items now, and then we are going to, do we expect to report out?
We will. On the litigation item.
On the litigation item? Okay. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and read them.
Item number 14, closed session, public employee performance evaluation, Authority Government Code, Section 54957B1, title, County Administrative Officer. Item number 15, closed session, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Authority Government Code, Section 54956.9D1, Marissa Cheristanson versus Tuolumne County Transportation Council et al., Tuolumne County Superior Court, case number CD 68225.
Any public comment?
Sorry, so report out one more time.
Yeah, so I was gonna get into that in a second. All right. Sorry?
So I'm recommending we go into closed session immediately following this in this building, come back out and report out on 15, and then go into closed session on 14, let everybody go.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter, it's gonna be like a
Do you
one
want to
o'clock
go back
session.
to,
I want to go back to the other side. Yeah.
Okay, because we also have the 1:30 meeting.
One.
No, it's 1 o'clock meeting, thank you. We also have the 1 o'clock meeting.
Also, with respect to the 1 o'clock meeting, the elevator has been fixed, and so plan, I don't know if the committee is to go back over there.
Yeah. So we'll do closed session on item 15 now in this room, right?
But we can do it in one of the other conferences.
Okay.
Yeah, there's Public Works.
All right, so let's go ahead and adjourn. We'll discuss item number 15, and we should be back in. Christopher?
15 minutes.
15 minutes?
15 minutes.
All right, let's aim for 15 minutes. We'll be back 15 minutes. All right, good morning. This is going to be our response, our reporting out for item number 15. Supervisor Holland moved and Supervisor Kirk seconded by a vote of 5-0. The board approved a retainer agreement with the law firm of Myers Nave to represent the county and its employees in the matter of Marissa Christensen versus Tuolumne County Transportation Council et al., Tuolumne County Superior Court case number CV 68225, a lawsuit alleging employment-related claims. And that concludes the report out. We will now go into closed session for item number 14, which we've already been read. So that concludes. Thank you, everyone.